Hey everybody, it is Elle. Today we're going to read about Marcus Freiberger. He was that yoga instructor who went missing. And the weird thing was he was missing for about a month, but they just reported it like March 14th. And he had been missing since February 21st. So it's kind of odd. I guess people thought maybe he was off doing something. I don't know. Makes no sense to me why it took so long. Situation is this guy loved his dog, was always with his dog. His dog was found in his apartment. My understanding was like 7 or 8 days after he went missing. So that's very unusual because people said he always loved his dog and always took his dog with him. Even stranger was that he was supposed to go on a blind date that day, February 21st. He told people he was going on this blind date. He was going to go meet this person, and he was not heard from again. So, family, after a few weeks, family, guessing it was family, reported him missing. And because he was an adult, there was no big, oh, we have to run and, sound all the alarms and put out the Amber Alert or, like they would with a kid. It just was not all that searched, it sounds like. But he eventually was found. Unfortunately, he was found passed. He was found in a rock quarry, and that was on March 19th. So almost a full month after he went missing on February 21st. This happened in Phoenix. The cause of death is pending. I don't know if they found his truck. Doesn't sound like it. Some people are saying, well, maybe the police have it and it just hasn't been announced. It sounds pretty suspicious. So, he was a gay man going out to have a date, a blind date with somebody, and he never came home. That's the last we know. So we're just going to ask some questions. Did he even meet his date? Did he forego that? It sounded like there was a Facebook post he posted. And he was saying he'd been through a hard time and was doing better. But when people post that they've been through hard times, and it always makes you a little worried. So some people are speculating that the hard times he was referring to are that he lost his license to be a contractor. He does own a roofing company, because of some sort of complaint from somebody. So there was a lot going on in his life too, which, it runs you down the road of all the usual, was it an accident? Was it a suicide? Was it a foul play? There sounds like there could be a few different things this could have been. And that's why I'm bringing all this background up. And we're going to read about that and see what is going on. So I thought we would start with, did Marcus even meet his date? Because there's a lot of speculation and suspicion around his date. So let me just take a second to focus on him. He's a good looking guy, 45 years old, yoga instructor. It's quite a leap from being like, I own a roofing company to I'm a yoga instructor. But he did it, and he looks very fit and happy in the pictures. So did he meet the date? Did he meet that date? The blind date he was supposed to go meet that night. That should give us maybe a jumping off point of what happened. Did he meet that date? Oh, yeah, I think he did. I think he did meet the date. Why? Because it's a devil card. And it comes up for couples. You see the couple. And sometimes it can be a card of people getting sort of down and dirty, kind of. Sometimes it can be sexuality, but in a, not the married, stereotypical, sweet, loving sex. It can be just like passionate. One nighter, it can be that kind of sex. So I do think he meant the one night stand. This is looking, did I say one night stand? The blind date. But yes, it is looking like they met and then some. That's what I'm seeing. So my next question right away is going to be, was that date involved in Marcus's death? So was the date involved in Marcus's death? Because often when we get the devil card, it's things leading to, something that feels good, but it doesn't have the best outcome. So sometimes we get the devil card for like addiction. It feels great when these people get high, but afterwards you see the demise it has on their life and on those around them. Sometimes uh, kind of scandalous type sexual encounters, they can feel great, but maybe there were some repercussions for that. And that I think is what may have happened here from what I'm seeing. So let's see if blind date did have something to do with Marcus's disappearance. Well, this is the Knight of Pentacles. The Knight of Pentacles really isn't moving fast in any direction. He's pretty slow. He's pretty steady. I would not think of him as somebody who's out doing something bad to people. He doesn't seem like it. Doesn't seem like it. That's interesting. Not getting that he had something to do with it. Let me ask what the blind date was like, this person who met up with him, because I do show they met up. What was this person who met up with him like? Card that represents that person. Well, that is the Two of Swords. So that person is kind of going in blindly. That's funny for a blind date. I mean, it's a great card. You see, they've got the blindfold on. So this person was going in blindly. They didn't really know what they were getting into either. Questioning if they were making a good decision in their own mind. We've got the Two Swords, which are like thoughts. But I also feel, again, this is a person not moving forward. And the Knight of Pentacles was a person not moving forward. That may be telling us about the blind date and a little bit more what happened on that blind date, because I have one person who doesn't seem very actively wanting to move forward, and yet I got the Devil card, which makes me curious. So, person not really moving forward, and yet these sexual intentions there strong. So let me ask if that was on Marcus's. Was that on Marcus's part? The Devil card. Was this representing more of Marcus than his blind date? Well, here we have this Nine of Wands, and this guy is pretty protective. So he's kind of protecting what is his and her, his. He's going forward in a protective manner, kind of guarded. So I see that with both of them. There's this like meeting up, but there's a bit of a guard, feeling guarded. With the other one, questioning his decisions. And yet behind that is like all this sexual tension. I'm not sure this whole blind date had anything to do with it, from what I'm seeing. Let me ask if the blind date had anything to do with it. We'll just ask flat out. Did the whole situation with blind date have anything to do with it? Maybe something happened while they were on their blind date. We don't know who the blind date is. The blind date could be missing right now for all we know. Did the blind date have anything to do with it? I do feel like it did. If I look at this card, I feel like it is my yes card. I do. And yet I don't see the blind date racing in, angry, getting upset about anything. If anything, I just see the blind date not wanting to like move forward in a way that maybe Marcus did, but I also feel them both guarded. And yet it does feel like there was some sort of involvement in that blind date. I do. All right. Although I don't think the blind date necessarily had something to do with this death. I know, put that one together. I'm going to move forward. We're going to ask more questions. Maybe it'll make sense. So let's ask if his truck has been found. Has Marcus's truck been found? As of March 29th, 6:55 p.m. Central Time. Has Marcus's truck been found? It's a Sarah pickup truck. Oh, I don't think so, because that is the Three of Swords. If it has been found, it's been found with some not good evidence in it. Some sad. This is the heartbreak card. It's the Three of Swords. You can see it's like it's a heartbreak. You know, your thoughts kind of make your heart hurt. It's that. I don't think it has, or if it has, it's been found with some bad evidence behind it. It's just not good. Um, no, let's just ask what happened to him. So we're going to do the accident, suicide, foul play, or natural passing. So let's go with accident. Was this an accident that happened to Marcus? Was this an accident? Was this an accident? I don't think it was an accident. Again, I have the sexual thing behind it. This is the Knight of Wands, kind of like rushing into, to me, it just feels like rushing into a sexual act. I just keep getting this feeling, and yet there's this wanting to be guarded, and like there's a feeling of on the other side, kind of not really wanting to move forward. So there's just this odd tension there. And yet there is this wanting, kind of wanting to rush into this. To me, it's a sexual act. That's what I'm seeing. Um, and that was accident. Doesn't really feel like an accident. All right, let's do suicide. Tell me about this being a suicide. Marcus did post some things that sounded like he'd been pretty depressed recently, but also that he was coming out of that. So tell us about this being a suicide. Um, I mean, that is the Ace of Pentacles, and that could possibly stand. Could. I'm gonna say could, because it's a pentacle, and a pentacle can stand for a body. It's a material thing, pentacles. Um, and it's new, so it could be a new discovery. I'm not 100. That's not really the card I would expect for a suicide, though. It's not screaming loud and clear, that's for sure. Let me move on and ask about foul play. Tell me about this being foul play. Tell me about Marcus's death being foul play. There's the Queen of Wands, and I did strangely get the Ace of Cups, and that felt like a feminine card too. Um, I mean, this man, he was gay, Marcus. I'm guessing the person he met was also gay, um, maybe very feminine. Um, as foul play, though, I've got the Queen of Wands, and the Queen of Wands really does kind of do her own thing. I mean, she's responsible for her own actions. Nobody really is responsible for her actions in this card. So I'm not I'm not getting a real foul play card either here. Let me see about this being a natural passing. I haven't got anything that's screaming at me that let me see a natural passing so far that makes me think it's one or the other of any of these. A natural passing for Marcus. Again, it just feels like, I mean, this is somebody who could have given him something, possible, could have given him something, could have given him too much of something, maybe. It's possible. Not exactly a card I'd really expect to see of natural passing, but we do know these things happen. And some, this is a card of one person giving another a cup. I'm going to read a little bit more of that, because that can lead to an accidental, maybe overdose or something like that. Well, one of the things I did want to ask was unintentional drugs or an overdose. You know, it wasn't meant to be, and nobody was trying to harm someone else. It happened. I don't know if that potentially falls in some of the other things, but let's read about this. Was it maybe accidental in that sense, that it wasn't meant to be? So I do feel like there was an action. There was an action that led to his passing. And I do feel it was an unintentional action, meaning the action was not done with the thought that this is going to make me die, or this is going to make him die. Do you see? So remember earlier we got that whole like sexual tension, and I didn't see the person purposely like moving forward and doing things, but one was sort of guarded too. I do wonder about what may have, um, if something had been taken, if something had been taken. It does feel like there was some sort of action. Got the wands. I've got a Knight of Wands, a Queen of Wands, an Ace of Wands. When I ask about unintentional, it does feel like something happened that was unintentional, but also caused a death. It's the best I can get in these cards. All right. So, and maybe that was how the blind date was involved. Maybe some sort of unintentional something that unfortunately had a bad effect. That's the best I'm getting from this. So let me just ask, what happened here? What happened? Just throw out a big old general what happened and see what we get. So what happened to Marcus? And the first thing we got was that double card, which also makes me think doing something you really shouldn't do. And again, we have the Page of Wands. So again, I have these, his action, his action, his action. I do feel like he performed an action, which unfortunately brought on his passing. Now, he was in Arizona and it was February. So I don't think it's too hot in Arizona in February. I'm only saying that because this is the desert and the person's out in the desert. And sometimes this card could be for someone who's dehydrated or that sort of thing. But Marcus was out there in the I don't know where, in the quarry, right? A rock quarry. I'm guessing in February it's not that bad. I'm guessing it's not that bad at all. I don't know what else he could have done that maybe had an effect on his body. But I do think there was an effect on his body that that maybe wasn't good. An effect on his body that wasn't good. And some sort of thing, action that he I hate to say it, but either was given to him or he participated in. That's what I'm saying. You remember those people, that couple, and they had a baby, I think, and they went out, and even their dog, and they were all found dead, and they'd been out hiking, and they ended up dehydrating. It feels like something weird, sort of like that, but there seems to be some sort of action he took too that led to some, and somehow that blind date I feel was involved in this action too, that led to a weird passing. It's very odd, I know. Let's just ask if this is going to be solved. Will this be solved? Will this be solved? Will his cause of death be solved? Well, here's the Ten of Swords. I do think it probably will be solved. Sometimes I do get this card for a suicide. Somebody brings on their own cause of death. That in this card for people who have been like in an accident and then wandered away and they end up finding them dead somewhere because of like they experience some sort of head trauma. And so it sort of makes them not right in their head and they wander away. Again, we have this whole sort of something with his actions that somehow was involved in his passing. I'm not sure. That's not 100% a card I get for like, will it be solved? But that might be, if it is solved, that might be the reason. Let me ask, what more should we know? What more should we know about Marcus and the situation with him? What more should we know about Marcus's situation? Okay, so here, and this is interesting. This can mean multiple things for me in this kind of reading. It can be bullets. Have had this be bullets before. It can be something you ingested, pills, something of that nature. Think of those little pentacles. What circle you are? A bullet, pill, things like that. And he's got them like on his body, and I think of it in his body. So I do feel like there is something sort of on his body, in his body, that did lead to this passing. I'm just going to ask about drugs. I hate to say it. I didn't go into this feeling that way, but was there some sort of drugs, drink, something that had this weird effect on him? It's not what I was thinking. Was this some sort of weird drugs, drinking? I don't know. This is the King of Pentacles. And that too, okay, again, we have a pentacle. We do. We have the pentacle. But the King of Pentacles is like, I'm in control of this. I'm in control of this. I'm very much in control of it. So, and yet we have this whole thing that seems to not be in control before that. I can read that in multiple ways. Somebody who thought they were in control of things, and then it turns out, you know what, they weren't. And that's what transpired. Somebody who thought they were walking into a situation they were in control of and was not. It just feels like there was an element of feeling you're in control, but you're not. You're not. And then something of your own actions leading to a situation that caused your passing. That really is what I've got at the end of the day. I have no idea what this guy's background was. I don't know if he took anything or was into anything sort of dangerous. But it just feels like there's this. Let me ask, is there anything, one more thing before we go that we should know about what brought this situation on? Anything else we should know about what brought this situation on? And then we'll just wrap it up from there. Then we have another king. So these are the men, right? We've got the King of Pentacles, and now we've got the King of Cups. Pentacles can stand for money too. They can, but I can't imagine Marcus had a whole bunch of money that he was wandering around with. He was a yoga instructor, so not exactly a career that, brings in huge amounts of money from what I imagine. But these two men meeting up here, the King of Pentacles and the King of Cups, do make me feel, again, it does make me question to what degree this other person was involved, even if they didn't murder him. Okay, let's just say that. It does feel like some of this is Marcus's own actions, but there is something about this other man. So let me just ask a little bit more about this other man. What about this other man? Why do we see him here if he wasn't directly, purposefully involved? Well, again, we have the cups, and this man's coming to apologize. This man's coming to make an offer. This man is coming, it feels like with goodwill, to be honest with you. And that offer could have been an offer of sex, which we saw in the double card. It's kind of reflecting this whole Ace of Cups that I got here too. Those are the good cups, emotions. And the King of Cups is also emotions. Sounds like somebody may have really liked somebody. And also that somebody was very wanting to have a sexual fling with somebody. So when I get all these cards together, it sounds very like a typical meetup, like a lot of things going on in a typical meetup. Maybe some feelings, maybe some sexual desire. What I don't have here is murder. I just don't. I don't have any cards saying murder. I just don't. So I'm just going to leave it at that. We'll see what else comes out, and hopefully we get some more answers for this case. Kind of odd. Tell me what you guys think about it. I'd love to hear. Sometimes you write things that make me think, oh, I didn't even think about that, but that makes sense. All right. Thanks, guys. Take care. Bye-bye.